You know, the global auto industry has just been on an absolute roller coaster for the past 6 years. We're talking crisis, we're talking resilience, and just total transformation. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the story of how one of the world's biggest economic engines got turned completely upside down.
And really, it all boils down to this one question. What happens when a $3 trillion industry gets hit by a perfect storm? Because that's exactly what we saw between 2017 and 2023. A whole series of global shocks just slammed into this economic giant. So, what did that actually look like? And, maybe more importantly, who managed to come out on top?
All right, so first things first. To really get a handle on the impact of all this, you've got to appreciate the sheer scale we're dealing with here. I mean, this is an industry that's woven into the very fabric of the global economy.
And if you want to put a number on it, try this on for size. The auto industry makes up about 3% of the entire world's GDP. That's huge. It's this massive economic behemoth that connects everything from steel and electronics all the way to software and insurance. And believe me, this giant was about to be rocked to its very core.
And look, this wasn't just one thing. It was this crazy, rapid-fire succession of crises, one right after the other, each one making the last one worse. It kicked off in 2019 with a slowdown from trade wars. Then, bam, 2020 hits with a pandemic and a full-blown shutdown. And just when they try to get the engines running again, 2021 delivered another body blow, the global chip shortage. It just starved production lines of the tiny little components that, well, make modern cars run.
The effect of all this? Well, it was absolutely staggering. Just look at the numbers. Global vehicle production just plummeted. We're talking from over 86 million units down to 72.5 million in a single year. That's almost a 19% drop. A collapse like that sends shockwaves through the entire global economy.
Now, you just don't see that level of disruption without some major consequences, right? It totally reshuffled the deck. It created a whole new landscape of winners and losers among the biggest names in the business.
And when you look at the results, it's a real mixed bag of stability and, well, decline. You had giants like Toyota just holding their ground, rock solid. Volkswagen actually climbed a few spots, which is impressive. But then you see even these incredibly established brands like Mercedes-Benz, they weren't immune at all. They slipped from 28th all the way down to 41st in the global rankings.
But honestly, the most dramatic story here, it was a real changing of the guard. You had a legacy titan, General Motors, falling almost 30 spots. At the same time, a relative newcomer, Tesla, made this just jaw-dropping leap. They skyrocketed from way down at 933rd place all the way up to 151st. This wasn't just a downturn, folks. This was an electric-powered reordering of the entire automotive universe.
Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. We're going to pivot from that big 30,000-foot global view to a specific, and I think really fascinating, national case study. How did all of this pressure play out on the ground in a major auto manufacturing hub like Turkey? Well, the answer, it's kind of paradoxical.
Yeah, so here's the paradox. At the same time that Turkey's overall economy was actually slipping in the world rankings, its auto production sector became more important on the global stage. It climbed all the way up to become the 13th largest in the world. I mean, they basically turned a global crisis into a national opportunity. And you know what? That strength in production translated directly to their local market. The percentage of cars sold in Turkey that were also made in Turkey, it jumped big time. From just 33% back in 2016 to almost 44% by 2022. So Turkish factories weren't just holding their own globally, they were also capturing more and more of their own home turf.
All of this growing confidence really led to something big. It culminated in what is probably Turkey's most ambitious automotive project ever, creating its very own national electric vehicle brand, completely from scratch.
And that brand is TOGG, which stands for Turkey's Automobile Joint Venture Group. It was set up in 2018 with a really clear strategic goal: create a global tech brand where all the intellectual property, everything, is owned by Turkey. And man, they moved fast. Their first electric SUV, the 1010X, hit the market in early 2023. That's a pretty bold entry into what is an incredibly competitive EV space.
But you have to understand, TOGG is way more than just a car company. It's a national symbol. It taps directly into this really powerful sense of domestic and national pride. And that gives the brand this emotional connection with its customers that goes way, way beyond just horsepower and price tags. Okay, so let's zoom back out.
taking that wider view again, what does this whole turbulent period teach us? What are the new rules of the road for the global auto industry? And, yeah, what does the future even look like now?
Well, it seems like the path forward is pretty clear, but it requires a fundamental reinvention. Three big things. First, electrify and reorganize. You have to go all in on EVs and restructure your entire supply chain around them. Second, connect the experience. A car isn't just a machine anymore, it's a connected device. The focus has to be on software, on data, on the digital experience inside the car. And third, reinvent the sale. The whole model is changing, moving to direct-to-consumer online sales and building a lifelong relationship with the customer, not just a one-time transaction.
But, maybe the biggest disruption of all isn't even the car itself. It's our relationship to the car. The whole concept of individual car ownership. It's being challenged. Think about it. The rise of ride-hailing, car sharing, all that micromobility, it all points to a future where having access to transportation might matter a whole lot more than actually owning the vehicle.
So when you boil it all down, the industry isn't just changing what it builds, it's changing how we all move. The next vehicle you rely on, it might be shared, it might be autonomous, electric, it might not even be a car in the way we think of one today. The road ahead is still being paved, which leaves us with just one final question. Are you ready for the ride?